We are not here to antagonize, but would love a situation where we'll interface and ensure that collectively we collaborate in ensuring that the mandates that you were promulgated for actually met for the greater good of Nigerians, especially in the oil and gas sector. Do you have the audited accounts here with you?
Came in from Bayelsa. Our office is in Bayelsa actually. We just crave your indulgence that we will be able to avail it to you later. The letter was just received only yesterday.
Is there any part of the act that you would want, that you find inconsistent with your activities and you would want?
During the last Senate, there was actually an attempt to review the NOGIC Act, and we have actually developed a compendium of areas that we think should be amended. So what we would do is we're going to send you that document so that that becomes a reference point for further discussion.
Mr. E.S., I know you're pretty much just a month in office, but you have interacted with the various departments. How do you think the local content setup has been able to meet up that mandate in empowering and ensuring? Well, let's start with the training. In training, building capacity, both products and services for the oil and gas sector, and in turn engaging Nigerians, giving Nigerian entrepreneurs a fair and even playing field in this sector.
We've done very well. We moved from 0 to what percent? 54%. 54% as now. We still have room for improvement in terms of the issue of training, local content, usage of personnel in the oil industry. So we are working on that, and then we're going to improve. We hope that by 2027 we'll be about 70%. That's the target.
The indigenous companies actually misrepresent themselves, but they are in truth agents to foreign companies. I believe you understand what I mean. How are you able to move around that?
Most of these companies are really in control. I mean, the local owners are really in control of these companies. And so if we don't want to use them, we don't want them to be a conduit for international companies. So we still monitor them. When they come to us, we look at the shareholdings and their product services provided in the oil industries.
How has the oil and gas sector been able to catalyze development or stimulate other sectors, since we are all interrelated?
We need to support local companies who are ready to partner with us or go into such ventures, and then we can reach out to the oil company to see how they can provide them with the necessary gas needed for such productions.
You do have the Nigerian Content Development Funds, and you also have the Nigerian Content Intervention Funds. The Nigerian Content Intervention Funds is the one domiciled in Bank of Industry, right? I believe it's about $500 million available to be accessed by the private sector. Of course, again, anyone who is interested and capable of building capacity in Nigeria. How much of that has been accessed by Nigerian entrepreneurs? And how much over time have you monitored to ensure that these funds that were borrowed, one, were utilized as appropriately? And have you monitored to ensure that the purpose for which these funds were accessed are actually met? Is that these monies are very difficult to access, and that somehow they have been kept there to yield interest. We just want to know how much of these funds are being accessed by Nigerians, and how have they actually been utilized for the purpose upon which they were accessed. Thank you.
The actual amount, the Nigerian Content Intervention Fund domiciled with the Bank of Industry was taken out of the Nigerian Content Development Fund. The total amount that is kept with the Bank of Industry is under the Nigerian Content Intervention Fund is $300 million, not $500 million.
May we also know how much you have how much you have lying with the central bank.
Can we provide this information? I don't think we really have it readily.
Okay, so we would expect that information. You have a particular fund also with NEXIM Bank, if I'm not mistaken, and another bank. Please educate us on that, the other two funds.
We do have $50 million funds with NEXIM Bank, broken into $30 million for working capital and capacity building with NEXIM Bank, and $20 million for women in oil and gas.
Wow. It's my first time knowing about this. And I think many women don't even know about it. And many Nigerians with great ideas don't even know that they have these funds available for them to access. And I wouldn't be wrong if I say most of these monies have been lying there generating interest for God knows who. And this information is key. It's important we put out there so the entrepreneurs will know that these funds are there for them.
We are very grateful to distinguished chairperson for telling the press to know this, because we actually want women to come and access these funds. Very serious-minded companies owned by women, because we really want these funds to be disbursed. That's the only way they can make impact in the economy.
The $20 million for the 3 women who have accessed that, with the same details, the purpose, the tenure, location, service or product, and also for the $30 million working capital. Now, like I said, I know that there's another one because there's another bank or intervention fund. Can you please notify me on that? I think we need to begin to get them on the table and demand of them what we want as a country, as against watching them export only. If Chevron can help Saudi Arabia generate $6.3 billion in 1 year from one single product, which is not even the oil, the major byproduct of oil and gas. Do you understand? So we can actually do the same for them.
Chevron has different companies, from my understanding. One of their companies is operating in Nigeria. The downstream companies that produces the polyethylene, we're talking about, or the byproduct of, using the byproduct of crude for other activities, are not in Nigeria, by based on knowledge. But if a Nigerian company step forward, we on the board, we can decide to support or partner to what level depends on the fund involved. But we cannot tell Chevron, you can do that, you can support Chevron MD, but we cannot. From the act setting up the board, we cannot call Chevron because they report to shareholders. We cannot call Mobil because they report to shareholders. They have their own shareholders and board of directors. So we have a limit. We can operate with them.
We can see insecurity is on the rise just because we have a lot of youths who have been jobless for too long, have gotten into the wrong side of law. Kidnapping, Abuja itself here is chaotic. Every day we're suffering the brunt. So we are at the verge of, I would just say, economic collapse, except we do things quickly. And that is why we will do anything to help create jobs. And the only way to create jobs is to in turn stimulate the private sector. But the private sector can only come actively on board when they know what is available for them. So I think we, as a team, I'm glad that quite a number of various committee chairmen were here, and everyone here can speak for them. We're all passionately and committed on the same goal to grow Nigeria, to grow capacity in products and services here that will support not only the oil and gas, but in turn, the other critical sectors that could be stimulated.